Hey everyone, I'm Marco. I'm going to be talking about the first Hobbit movie compared to the book. The biggest thing I noticed right away was I've read the Hobbit books before. I read Hobbit before a long time ago, along with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And with the Lord of the Rings trilogy, I was wondering how they're going to fit so much content in each book into each movie, seeing as there's only 3 movies. With The Hobbit, I had the opposite problem. The Hobbit is a shorter book than any of the Lord of the Rings series, yet they split it into 3 movies. And I was wondering how they were going to do this. So I guess what they ended up doing was added a lot more content than you had before. Usually when you have books like this adapted into movies, you lose content. You lose tons of the story. You lose a lot of plots, characters. Here they added a ton of stuff. And I felt kind of back and forth on whether I like this or not. I don't know whether I like the fact that I had more to the story, or if I'm a little upset that they added so much that wasn't there before. What I did like was the fact that they didn't leave anything out. Usually, like when you watch the Harry Potter movies, they leave a ton of stuff out. Here, I don't think they left almost anything out, and you get a lot of what was actually written inside the book in the movie itself. I think the biggest thing that they added, I think, was the addition of the orcs. In the original story, there were no orcs. It was just the goblins. It was the goblins and the dwarves and the hobbits. And they had a little bit of the elves in there too. The addition of the orcs, I mean, I kind of like that story. I kind of like the content with Thorin and the white orc. But, I mean, I felt like you could have done a little more with the goblins. The goblins seemed to be throwaway characters. A little bit that I did like that they kept inside the book was the part with the riddles. Basically the whole scene is in there, and I think it's one of the best parts of that part of the story. So I think that was great that they kept that in, and they kept the eagles, and they kept, basically all the content that you like. They kind of added a little too much, I thought. I mean, the addition with the wizards, the original wizard that was in the Lord of the Rings trilogy wasn't there before. They added a female character, which was very interesting, seeing as they didn't have any female characters inside the book. And sort of that kind of falls in, I mean, that's kind of how it is throughout the entire movie. There's just stuff that wasn't in it before. I think the biggest change that I'm most upset with was with the ending. In the book, they're trapped inside the tree with the wargs surrounding them. So Gandalf starts throwing firebombs down, and then the eagles come and rescue them. Now, what's different in the book is the fact that Bilbo doesn't save Thorin. Thorin doesn't decide to go attack the Orc King. They all get rescued, and Bilbo doesn't do anything heroic in that scene. He just gets carried away. In the movie, he does something completely heroic. He jumps in front and tackles the goblin and saves Thorin from death. And from this, it's kind of this turning point in this character that doesn't come into a lot further into the books. Into the book, it doesn't happen until Flies and Spiders, where he kills the spider and names his sword. And I thought that was a little kind of burying the hatchet earlier than they needed to inside the books. Inside the movie, I mean, Thorin's opinion completely changes of Bilbo immediately after he does this. He says that, he was wrong about him the entire time, that he's an asset, and he becomes one of them immediately. So it's going to leave him, there's going to be no more shift in his, demeanor, or shift in the way he's perceived by the group. He's already considered a hero. So there's nowhere else for him to really go character-wise. I mean, if he does anything heroic from now on, it's just going to be expected of him. So I felt that was a little off. That's what probably bothered me most about it. But all in all, I thought that, the movie was great, and I thought the characters, Martin Freeman as Bilbo, I thought was perfect. Gandalf, of course, Ian McKellen, always great. So I didn't have a lot to say, that I didn't like. I like that they kept a lot of the characters and a lot of things the same. But that ending, I think, was probably the hardest part for me to take. All right, thank you guys. Bye.